Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. I wanted to share my thoughts about putting pressure on yourself to get tasks accomplished. And I'm talking about this today because it's something I always talk about, the things that I happen to be kind of going through in my life, in my personal life, and just the things that I'm actually learning, like along the way as I go through my life and as I have different experiences. And something that kind of stood out to me in the last couple of days is how much pressure I put on myself is absolutely mind-boggling. And when I think about this pressure, I've really come to realize that the reason why I actually don't get half the stuff I want to accomplished because of this pressure. So the more I apply this pressure to myself of getting tasks done or completing things that might feel overwhelming for me, the less I'm actually inclined to do it. And the more I'm going to procrastinate to get it done because it feels intense, because I'm not in like this relaxed state to actually accomplish that goal. Because when you're stressed and when you're running off stress hormones, your mind is not clear and it's not focused. And that's something that I really realized within myself, is that I can't get shit done half the time because my mind is not clear and it's not focused, because I'm so hard on myself, because I'm putting so much pressure on myself to have something completed by a certain time, or that it has to be perfect, right? So that perfectionism and that pressure is actually the self-sabotage. That is how you screw yourself over, and that is how you don't get things accomplished. And when you can finally identify with it yourself that you do that, because I don't know how I wasn't identifying that for so long, but I wasn't. I didn't have a clear understanding that the reason why I procrastinate so much with different things is because of this pressure, because that stress and that anxiety that I begin to feel within myself about that thing that I'm trying to accomplish is the exact thing that is also pushing it away from me. It's like, or I'm pushing that thing away from me because it feels so overwhelming now, because I feel so much heaviness around that activity. So I'm trying to like lighten my thought process when it comes to getting tasks accomplished, especially, and it could be literally anything, any kind of a task, whether that's work, whether that's a project at home, whether it's cleaning out a space within the home or organizing it, or whether it's purging or getting rid of stuff, or like really anything at all. And even when it comes to like my own personal goals, when it comes to like my health goals or my eating goals or exercise goals, all the different ways in which I want to support myself, even those goals, like I can't accomplish now, I'm realizing, because again, I put so much pressure about the goal on myself, about having to accomplish it and needing to accomplish it. And it's like, no matter what, you're going to do this, girl. And that, again, I'm just realizing is so unhealthy. It's so not the way forward, because at the end of the day, like, do you want to feel stressed when you're getting shit done that you know are good for you? Or do you want to feel happy when you're getting those things done and accomplished? And what I realized is that I was constantly miserable, even though I was trying to do things that I actually enjoy. Otherwise, like without the pressure. So if I can start removing the pressure, and if I can just change my mindset and how I think of that task, then I can remove that anxiety that is immediately associated with it, which therefore also removes the procrastination that I will perpetuate because of the pressure. So it's kind of cool when you start to realize like how you screw yourself over, and how it's your way of thinking and it's your process, like your processing and like how you're seeing and your perception about a certain thing. That's why I always say, like, my motto is change your perception, change your life. And this is something, it's my motto because I constantly have to do that for myself. I constantly have to change my perception about the way I see things in my life, the way I see myself, the way I see my physical appearance, the way I see health, the way I see my finances. That's a huge one for me, like massive perception shifting needing around that. There's so many areas in my life that I'm now realizing that really is just not working at the moment, or isn't the best it could be, because of how I see it, because of how I think about it, how I feel about it, and how I look at the whole situation, just in general. And so shifting that, and changing my view on things, and changing my view on tasks and how I take on those tasks, and making them more fun and exciting and inviting to do, because that's really what it should be, right? Like the things that we do in life and the work that you do, especially, and in terms of how you show up for the world, it must come from our hearts. It has to come from authenticity. It has to come from a place within you that is real, that is natural, and that is you, right? Because I find that people that do work, that really aligns with them in terms of their skills or their gifts or their talents, ends up really creating so much joy for them that it doesn't become work. It doesn't seem like work. And that's what I want. Like that's what I want to experience, because my work really felt like work, and it was like heavy for a long time. But as I'm transitioning and as I'm shifting into a new mindset about work and how I look at my tasks, it's becoming less burdensome, and it's just starting to become more fun and more exciting to do. Now, all of that being said, this is a process. Like, again, I'm noticing this recently within myself, just really seeing it with brand new and different eyes only recently. I've always known I self-sabotage, and I've always known that I put pressure on myself, but I've never seen it with such clarity, and I've never seen how that pressure really translates into my life and into my world, and in terms of what I've manifested for myself to date, right? And that's what I see now. It's like this more holistic overview, this more broader perspective, bird's eye view, if you will, of my situation and how certain things have played out in my life because of how I was seeing it, or because of how much pressure I applied on myself, which then caused procrastination, which then led me to experience, difficulties, because perhaps I didn't take action when I could have taken action, or when I needed to take action. And that action would have served me immensely well in that moment, right? Because timing is really important here too. And that's something that I'm realizing, that like when we fuck away time and we just don't appreciate it for what it is, and we don't realize that the energies that are present only for like a certain period of time, and that they don't last forever, it's easy to get off track, like, and you don't realize how much that is important. And again, if I'm looking at the bigger picture of my life, I realize that it's actually extremely important, and that I really should be timing myself according to, astrology, because I follow astrology and I'm aware that the planets and what they're doing is important. So, and certain alignments and how they play out and how they can support you actually when it comes to, launching projects and getting different things done. There are just certain times and certain days of the year where a task that would normally feel like super heavy and overwhelming could perhaps on like a certain day feel absolutely easy and attainable and doable, right? And that's because the energy is perhaps, in a way where it's uplifting and it's pushing and it's expanding and it's allowing that, like it's supporting that that growth within you to happen, right? But if we don't take advantage of those energies and those timings because of procrastination, then you're losing out on opportunity after opportunity. And that's where I feel like I have lost, and I know I have lost out on opportunities in the past, for perhaps career advancement, or just to make more money, in general. And now I'm realizing that that was just because of that. It was it was all based on false beliefs, and then procrastination as a result of those false beliefs, and then the immense pressure that I put on myself to like get things done. And that's the other piece here I want to tie in, is that I think we need to be realistic in terms of what we can accomplish or what we think we can accomplish. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, I have certainly put an immense amount of pressure on myself to get so much more done than what's really truly realistic. And I'm tired of that too. And I'm recognizing that it's toxic to think that way. Like you can't expect yourself to do like 500 things when you are like one person, right? Or if you have 500 things to do and you have to get those things done, then at least create a list for yourself or break it down into smaller little tangible projects. Because like I'm trying everything and anything at this point to alleviate anxiety and pressure off of myself, and that is how I'm doing it, and it's working. Like if I kind of break down my huge goal into like all these smaller little pieces, like a pie, right, then it just becomes so much more attainable and so much more doable, and I immediately start to see my anxiety like settle down, and the procrastination actually starts to also slow down, and I stop procrastinating because I'm now seeing that, okay, this is doable, like whatever, I'll just do this today and then work on, whatever, and then I'll do that tomorrow. And it's becoming easier. And so I want to encourage anyone that is procrastinating, that is self-sabotaging and not taking opportunities to, it's like breathe, slow down and just breathe and give yourself time to collect your thoughts and your feelings about what you truly want to accomplish, why you want to accomplish those things, and does it have meaning? Does it bring meaning into your life to do that something that you are putting pressure on yourself to do but are not doing? So if you can kind of sort that out and figure out what kind of meaning this is bringing to your life, then I think you're going to be able to really see it from a different perspective, and how it will allow you to really want to take action, and not pressured action, but clear action where you know what you're doing because you know why you're doing it. And so that's kind of what I've realized. That's what I wanted to share today about procrastination and the different stuff we do. And again, break things down into smaller pieces so that it's more chewable. When you have a hamburger sitting in front of you, you're not going to like shove the whole thing in your mouth and try and chew it, because you literally would choke on it, right? It would give you anxiety to try and work through all of that in your mouth, like to try and chew through it. So this is like the same thing. It's just break it down, like cut the hamburger in half, or just take one little bite and start with that. And the more I do this and the more I put it into practice, I'm really getting a sense of how it's supporting me. And really it's how I'm supporting myself, or how I'm beginning to support myself in a much healthier way than I did before, where again, there's less pressure on me to do things or to get things done. And the one last piece I wanted to add in here is, when we have to get something done that is overwhelming and brings us anxiety because it's a new thing, it's not something that you're familiar with or comfortable with, that is, again, it's something that you have to start looking at it and breaking it down. Okay, I'm completely overwhelmed with this new subject because I'm not comfortable with it. It's unfamiliar to me. I'm not sure how it works. So I'm going to have to learn. Like I'm going to have to start from scratch and educate myself and teach myself how this, structure this whatever, this new thing that I want to do, how it works and how it functions, and how I can make it work in my life, right? And break it down and into small little chunks, and then just start doing your research, because that was the only way that I could get over like this hump of like fear that I had over all this online stuff, because there are so many online platforms. I don't know how to use them. I'm not tech savvy at all. I'm very much spiritual, kind of earth angel type energy. So I like practical hands-on kind of things. Not digital things so much. I'm not crazy about technology. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's it's an amazing tool for us to have, and I love how it has opened a window in our world to each other. However, it is something new. It's something that we have to learn. It's not something that, not when I was born anyway, in my generation, it was practically non-existent, or just at the very beginning stages of internet, right? So this isn't for me, it doesn't come naturally, so therefore I have to really put effort and time into understanding it and learning it and figuring out how it works. Now for me, that was incredibly overwhelming and incredibly like anxiety inducing, because it's just not what I know. It's not what was naturally coming to me, right? So, but now I've figured out a way to break it down for myself where it is doable and I can learn it and I don't have to feel overwhelmed. So anything that's new that you're taking on, just small baby steps, okay? And just do lots of research, because I think the more you learn about that topic, the more you're going to really get a clear understanding and a clear picture, and you're going to start to realize, oh, it's not so bad actually, and this is doable, and it is something that I can learn. So yeah, so just try that, and you know, baby steps, one day at a time. That is the only way that you're going to get ahead. So try to do everything in your power to eliminate pressure, and that is going to start up here by switching your perspective about how you see your situation, how you see your circumstances, and you know, look for those solutions instead of looking at all of the things that I don't know how to do and I've got to figure this out and I've got to do it by myself. Instead of doing that, like really look at what you have available to you, because that's the other thing, is we always have resources available to us, but we sometimes don't realize it, especially when we're stressed out and especially when we feel super overwhelmed with something. Like a lot of times you just don't even know who to ask for help, right? Or like where to even turn. And that's okay, right? It's going to take research perhaps to find the right people to connect with. But first thing I'm noticing is if I set the intention to connect with the right people to help me and support me with whatever projects I need help with, 9 times out of 10, it will happen and I will get the right kind of support. But you have to be willing to identify in the first place that, you know, I need help with this and I'm not good at it, and that's okay. And I'm not going to be hard on myself for it, because you can't. This is not even realistic. If you don't know something, you don't know something, right? Then you're going to have to take time to learn it. And don't put yourself through an anxiety roller coaster in that process, because it doesn't need to be like that. And I'm finding that learning actually can be very, very fun if you approach it with a lighthearted approach. If you don't put pressure on yourself to fucking know it all, like within 5 minutes, then it's actually a fun process. So because you're discovering something new, and the more you realize how those new things can actually really help and support your life, the more you're going to feel about it, or the better you're going to feel about it. So take it in, you know, take it in and allow yourself to just go step by step without the pressure. You will have so much more accomplished in a single week. You will just get so much more done because there isn't any pressure, there isn't any stress. And when there isn't any stress, there's a lot more clarity within the mind, within the heart, and therefore within your life. So that's what I have for you guys today. That's my message. And I hope this was helpful for anyone that is also struggling with procrastination. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit a like, subscribe to the channel if this information was helpful for you. I do want it to get out to as many people as possible, because I know I am not the only one and neither are you. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.